name is Jeremy Letcher, and I'm going to be presenting about basics to wine storage. Basically, when I'm finished with this presentation, you'll be able to know how to store a wine investment, whether it be a single bottle or thousands of bottles, in a properly well thought out wine cellar. You'll also be able to pair the proper wine with specific types of food. I've basically done extensive research on this subject, as I used to drink wine quite a bit. I also work for a wine rack storage company called Wine Racks America in North Salt Lake as a web developer. I have been trained on the process of building wine racks as well as the proper method to store wine. And in order to develop new wine racking systems, we have been designing a new racking system as well. I'm going to explain the benefits of each type of wine storage, as well as how to store wine in its proper fermentation length, and I will also be able to explain how to pair wine with food for an enjoyable meal. In my bachelor years, I was always buying bottles of wine to drink with foods or friends when I would cook. I had a few bottles I spent quite a few dollars on, and I had an older house with a cellar in it. It wasn't a wine cellar, but I thought it would work. I put the bottles in the cellar and left them alone for a few years, and then tried to open one when I got engaged. It was quite a disappointment when it had a putrid taste. This is what actually got me interested in storing wine and the proper way to pair wine to get the most out of combination. What I eventually found out is it ended up being a little bit too warm and also stored incorrectly. I'd stored the bottle up and let the wine dry out. A lot of people, when they first try wine, either hate or love wine, and there's a reason for that. If you have a properly stored wine, it usually does taste either sweet or more of a coffee-like taste, or different elements of tobacco, chocolate, different things like that, depending on the wine. An improperly stored wine will have a horrible taste, as it's been oxygenated. One of the methods I want you to learn is be able to purchase a proper bottle of wine for a particular event or meal and be able to store it. Red wines are the most common type of wine on the market. It has a reputation for being one of the tastiest or worst tasting wines, depending on the region. Quality of grapes used in making the wine. Different grapes produce different tastes and scents of wine. These wines are usually good with pasta, pork, chicken, spiced foods, and wines in this category are best when stored for up to 10 years. Served around 62 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit and a minimum of 60% humidity. White wines are also a common wine with many varieties. Some of the most common are Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon, and while most wines are dry with tastes of citrus, vanilla, and melon, these wines are good paired with fish, chicken, multiple white meats, and white wines are also good stored for up to 10 years. You want to keep them between 50 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit and about 60% humidity. Dessert wines are commonly characterized by three categories: sparkling, sweet, and fortified wines. These wines are typically more expensive. The fortified wine is also known as a dessert wine. These are meant to be savored much like a glass of scotch, so they come in a little bit smaller of a bottle. The wines are made from red, white, and wine, including champagnes, port, and sherry wines. These have the aging process stopped, and storing these wines long term is not intended. They're meant to be consumed within 1 to 2 years. Types of cellars range from what you are storing. If you're using wine for cooking and the wine will be consumed within a few months, the temperature of the wine storage is not necessarily that important. important as long as the cork stays wet. A 30-degree angle is usually recommended. And why is the wine racking system so important when storing wine? Proper storage of the wine can dry out the cork and cause the wine to taste bitter or putrid as it's turning into vinegar. The wine is heated, the fermentation process is also sped up, and sugars are subject to the same wine fermentation process. White wines and red wines usually store about the same temperature. And based on the information learned in this presentation, you should now be able to select the perfect wine to complement your main dish for an important event, such as a wedding dinner, gathering with the family, or holiday celebration. I thank you very much for your time and hope you enjoy.